Have you ever felt like the voice inside your head is the one driving your entire life? It brings up old mistakes. It scares you with a future that hasn't even happened yet. It judges you, harsher than anyone else ever could. And you wonder, if I'm not these thoughts, then who am I? Socrates once said, "The unexamined life is not worth living. A life without reflection is not worth living." But here's what he didn't say. If reflection never turns into action, it becomes nothing more than a clever form of procrastination. You and I, we've both been there. We read an inspiring quote on Instagram. We feel fired up for a few minutes. And then we slip right back into the old loop, worry distraction, the weight of feeling powerless. But the Stoics, over 2,000 years ago, discovered something simple yet revolutionary. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. You are the one who decides which thoughts deserve to stay and which ones should leave like unwelcome guests. Imagine your mind as a house. Every thought knocks at the door. Some guests are worth inviting in creativity, gratitude, focus. Others are loud, disruptive anxiety, anger, pointless comparisons. You are the host. You choose who enters, you choose who leaves. And that is the purpose of the 13 Stoic principles. No noise, no show. They help you keep order inside your mental house, quietly, day by day. Because instead of trying to control everything out there, things far beyond your reach, Stoicism teaches you to master the one thing always within your reach, your response. Storms will rise. A stressful email lands in your inbox. A loved one says something that cuts deep. A stranger posts a harsh comment online. But you can still choose peace in the room within. Modern neuroscience confirms this. When we step back from our thoughts, anxiety drops, clarity grows, and we find the wisdom to choose well. In other words, what was true 2,000 years ago is now backed by science. Practicing Stoicism doesn't need loud declarations. You don't need to post about it online. It happens in silence. In the moment you pause in anger and choose calm instead of explosion. In the evening, you take 2 minutes and write down what you're grateful for. In the morning, you whisper to yourself, "Today, I will live by my values." These are small bricks, quiet, invisible, but together, they build an inner fortress. Remember this, your life is not decided by circumstances. It's decided by your response to those circumstances. You can let the noise in your head drive you into endless worry, or you can begin today with just one small step. Write this down. I choose to master my response. Say it out loud right now. Let it be your affirmation, a seed for change. And if this message speaks to you, I invite you to walk with me. Hit subscribe. Each week we'll return here. We'll learn how to organize life from the inside out. The Stoics did it quietly, and they changed the world. Now, it's your turn. Let's begin with the first principle. Principle 1. Live by your core values. Have you ever reached a milestone and still felt empty inside? You got the promotion. You bought the dream house. You drove home in the brand new car. And yet, inside, there was still a quiet, unsettling void. Why maybe? Because you've been living the life others expected of you, not the life you truly believe in. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And he knew the quality of your thoughts depends on the clarity of your values. If you don't know your core values, then every achievement, every victory, may end up as nothing more than an empty shell. So many people spend their whole lives chasing society's definition of success: a six-figure salary, the big house, the picture-perfect Instagram feed. But when the night grows quiet, they still feel something missing, because those were never their measures. They were someone else's. Have you ever stopped to ask, whose life am I really living, mine or someone else's pause? And ask yourself, what truly matters most to me? Maybe it's integrity, living true to what you believe. Maybe it's courage, walking forward even on a rocky road. Maybe it's justice, treating others with fairness and respect. Or mindfulness, keeping clarity in a noisy world. The Stoics called these the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. But your values might be creativity, kindness, or a hunger to keep learning. The label doesn't matter. What matters is honesty with yourself. Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps, once wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. And that choice of attitude is always a mirror of your values." Picture this. Each value is like a star in the night sky. In the daylight, you may forget it's there. But when darkness falls, those stars are what guide you. They don't promise the road will be easy, but they promise you will never lose yourself. So how do you begin? It's simple. Write down 5 values that matter most to you. Don't overthink. Write what resonates deep in your heart. Then, with each decision, big or small, ask, does this choice reflect the values I want to live by? For example, you're offered a high-paying job, but it asks you to sacrifice your integrity. If honesty is your value, the answer is clear. Or maybe you're in a comfortable relationship, but it no longer nurtures growth. If growth is your value, you also have your answer. When you live in alignment with your values, you feel something rare, not a quick rush of excitement, but a deep sense of fullness inside. You stop comparing, you stop chasing validation, because you know you are on the right path. So don't let the world define success for you. You get to define it for yourself, through your core values. Tomorrow, take one small step. Write down your 5 most important values and say out loud, "With me, I choose to live by my values." Drop one word, just one value, in the comments so you can see it for yourself and so the community can witness it with you. Because in the end, life is not measured by what you own. It's measured by whether you became the person you most respect. And if you want to keep walking this journey, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you, exploring Stoicism so we can learn to live a quiet life, yet a powerful one. Remember this: true happiness begins when you live by your values. Principle 2. Remember death. If today were your last day, how would you live differently? It sounds frightening, doesn't it? But it isn't a curse. It's a reminder, a gentle whisper about life. In Stoic philosophy, there's an ancient principle, just 3 words, but powerful enough to transform how you live: memento mori. Remember, one day you will die. Sounds morbid, it's not. It's an invitation to live with meaning, a reminder that time is not endless. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, ruler of an empire, told himself, "Each day today could be my last." Why would someone with that much power think of death daily? Because he understood. When you remember life is finite, you stop wasting it on the trivial. Picture this. You're holding an hourglass. Every grain of sand that falls is a moment of your life. You can't turn it upside down, and you don't know when the last grain will drop. How do you see it? With fear, or with gratitude for each grain that remains? Memento Mori doesn't ask you to obsess over death. It invites you to face the truth: time is limited, and that truth makes every moment precious. Think about it. If you knew you had just 1 year left, what would you do differently? Maybe you'd call that old friend. Maybe you'd finally say, "I'm sorry, or I love you." Maybe you'd stop chasing the shallow and start spending time on what truly matters. Here's how to practice Memento Mori. Each morning before your day begins, whisper to yourself, "Today could be my last." Not to be afraid, but to choose more carefully. Choose your words. Choose your actions. Choose your attitude. When you remember, time is not infinite, procrastination loses its grip. You stop letting life slip away in endless scrolling or meaningless arguments. You start giving priority to family, to health, to inner growth. You learn to be fully present in a meal, in a hug, in a quiet afternoon. And modern science agrees. When people are aware of life's limits, they tend to live more deliberately, making choices that hold meaning. In other words, remembering that you will die is the surest way to begin truly living. So tonight, try this small step. Write down one sentence. I don't know if tomorrow will come, but today I will live fully. Read it out loud. And if you dare, leave one word in the comments, one word that describes what you'd prioritize if today were your last. Let Memento Mori become your gentle compass. Not a reminder of death, but a reminder of life. So that every morning you open your eyes, you know it's a day worth living. Without delay, without regret. And if this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week I'll be here with you exploring Stoic principles, learning how to shape a life that is quiet yet powerful. Remember this: live as if today were your last, because one day you'll be right. Principle 3. Live in accord with nature. Have you ever felt tired of fighting life as if you're rowing against a river? The harder you push, the more exhausted you become. And in that moment of weariness, you ask yourself, is there a way to live without always struggling? The Stoics had an answer, a reminder that seems simple, but can completely change how we see the world: live in accord with nature. It sounds vague, doesn't it? What does it really mean to give up, to be passive? No, it runs deeper than that. In Stoic philosophy, nature has two layers. The first is the world outside the sky, the seasons, the universe, the forces beyond our control. The second is the world within our reason, our conscience, the truth we already know in our hearts. To live in accord with nature isn't to escape life. It's to live in harmony with both, not resisting what is, and not betraying who you truly are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "We are born to work together like the hands right and left." He reminded us humans are part of a greater order. When we fight it, we suffer. When we accept it, we find peace. Think about your own body. When it's tired, it asks for rest. When it's hungry, it asks for nourishment. Yet so often, we ignore it. We push, we force, we bury ourselves in endless schedules. Living in accord with nature begins with listening to those simple signals, like the seasons of the year. Spring brings growth, summer fullness, autumn decline, winter rest. No season lasts forever, and neither do we. Birth, aging, illness, death. We can't cling to youth. We can't deny old age. We can't outrun mortality. Only when we stop resisting can we learn to live fully in each stage. Have you ever cursed the rain for ruining your plans, or felt crushed when someone failed to act the way you hoped? That's what it means to fight nature. The Stoics would say, instead of raging at the rain, bring an umbrella. Instead of demanding perfection, remember everyone is imperfect, just like you. To live in accord with nature isn't to be passive. It's to live awake, to rise with your body's rhythm instead of scrolling till 2 a.m., to eat simply instead of chasing indulgence, to slow down and hear your own heart instead of running with the crowd. And when you live this way, the inner battle softens. You stop feeling like life is one endless fight. You begin to feel part of the larger flow of the universe. Not separate, not lost. The message is simple. Don't live like someone stubbornly fighting the current. Learn to row with the river, but keep your hand on the oar. Tomorrow morning, try this one small step. When you wake, don't grab your phone first. Open the window. Take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, "Today I will live in accord with nature." Say it out loud or write it in the comments below. Make it real. And if this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you, exploring Stoicism, learning to shape our lives quietly, with harmony and with strength. Remember, when you live in accord with nature, you lose nothing. You only find yourself again. Principle 4. Knowing what you can control and what you can't. Have you ever felt exhausted simply because you were trying to control things that never belonged to you? The mood of another person, tomorrow's weather, the gossip whispered behind your back. The tighter you hold on, the more it slips away. The more you cling, the more it hurts. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. But the Stoics left us a key, a principle powerful enough to free you from that cycle of helplessness. Learn to separate what you can control from what you cannot. Picture this. Life is a room with 2 doors. One door opens to the space you truly own, your thoughts, your attitude, your actions, the values you choose to live by. The other door leads to the space you'll never control, the moods of others, the market's sudden events, the past that's already gone. The problem: most of us stand at the wrong door. We worry about tomorrow's rain. We rage at a difficult coworker. We obsess over how others see us. And the result: exhaustion, frustration, that sinking sense of powerlessness. Epictetus, once a slave, later a great philosopher, said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." True wealth isn't in how much you hold, but in how little you need. And needing less begins by setting down what was never yours to carry. Try this small exercise. Take a sheet of paper. Draw 2 columns. On the left, write "my control." On the right, write "not my control." Whenever anxiety rises, put it in the right place. The weather, not your control. Other people's emotions, not your control. But how you respond to the rain, how you choose to listen or reply, that's in your hands. It sounds simple, but practice it for just a week and you'll feel the shift. Anxiety drops because you've stopped fighting unwinnable battles. Productivity rises because your energy goes where it matters. Relationships ease because you stop trying to manipulate others. And most of all, your confidence grows because at last you're using the power that's truly yours. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, reminded himself each day, confine yourself to the present. The future isn't written. The past is closed. Only the present. This breath, this action is in your grasp. Living this way isn't surrender. It's strategic focus. It's like giving up shooting arrows at moving targets you'll never hit, and aiming with full force at the bullseye right in front of you. The message is clear. Don't waste your life on what you cannot change. Pour your energy where you can make a difference. Right now, try this one step. Write down one thing you're worried about. Then ask, which column does it belong to? If it's not my control, let it go. If it's my control, take action. And say it out loud with me. I choose to focus on what I can control. Write that line in the comments. See it for yourself. And let this community remind each other. If this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week we'll sit here together, going deeper into Stoicism, learning how to order our lives quietly but powerfully. Remember, true freedom begins the moment you can tell the difference what belongs to you and what never did. Principle 5. Focus on your circle of influence. Have you ever woken up, picked up your phone, and instantly drowned in news, politics, markets, things you have no power to change? You feel worried, you feel angry, you argue, and by the end of the day, you're drained. And you ask yourself, where did all my precious energy go? The Stoics left us a simple map, a map that shows you exactly where to place your energy. Picture 3 concentric circles, like a target. At the very center is control, the things you fully command: your thoughts, your attitude, your choices, your actions. Around that lies influence, the things you affect indirectly: family, co-workers, your community. The outer circle is concern, the things you care about, but can't control: global politics, the economy, the weather, the past. The problem: most of us spend 80% of our energy in that outer circle. We worry about Washington, we argue on Facebook, we obsess over what other people think, and the result, we end up tired, helpless, and small. Stoicism teaches us to pull our energy back to the center, to invest in control and influence, because only there do you create real change. Stephen Covey, inspired by Stoicism, once wrote, "As we focus on our circle of influence, it expands." What does that mean? When you focus on what you can affect, your impact grows. When you waste energy on the impossible, your influence shrinks. Think of this. You can't control a company's decision to downsize, but you can control the skills you sharpen. You can influence how your teammates see you through professionalism, through cooperation. The same at home. You can't control your kids forever, but you can shape the environment. You can live as an example. Because the greatest influence doesn't come from orders. It comes from the life you model. Here's how to practice. Each time you feel stressed, ask yourself, which circle does this belong to? If it's control, act now. If it's influence, plant seeds, shape with words, with example. If it's only concern, release it, and something strange will happen. When you stop worrying about the world, you gain energy for your family. When you stop wrestling with the past, you gain strength to shape the present. And in that moment, your circle of influence begins to grow. The message is simple. Don't let your life slip away in the circle of concern. Return to control and influence, the only places where you can make a real difference. Right now, try one small step. Write down the 3 things worrying you most today. Then sort them: control, influence, or concern. And say this out loud with me. I choose to focus on my circle of influence. Write that line in the comments. Turn it into a commitment, not just a thought. If this message speaks to you, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you exploring Stoicism, learning how to order life quietly, but powerfully. Remember, you don't need to control the whole world. You only need to tend your small circle, and from there, the world around you will begin to change. Principle 6. The view from above. Have you ever felt it? A single pebble drops into the lake of your mind, and the ripples keep spreading until it feels like a storm. Sometimes it's just an unanswered email, a harsh word from someone, or a comment online. Yet it grows inside your head. You toss and turn. Your heart races, as if the whole world were collapsing. And you wonder, is it really as big as I think? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Your power lies in how you think, not in what happens out there." It sounds simple, but how do we truly do it? The Stoics practiced something called the view from above. Imagine this. You see yourself first from the ceiling of your room, then from the roof looking over your street. Zoom out further. Now you're just a dot in the city. Pull back more, a country, a continent, and finally, the whole earth spinning in the vastness of space. Now place your problem into that frame. A disagreement with a coworker, a bank account smaller than you hoped, a judgmental word from someone, against the scale of time and space. How big is it really? Here's the fascinating part. Neuroscience confirms this practice works. When you zoom out the rational part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex lights up, and your amygdala, the center of fear and anxiety, quiets down. Just by shifting perspective, your brain changes the story, and you can apply this in daily life. Next time you're stuck in traffic, instead of boiling with anger, imagine the view from a satellite. Thousands of tiny cars, each carrying a story. Or when someone hurts you, pause and ask, will this still matter 5 years from now? Or, if my best friend were in my shoes, what would I tell them? The Stoics knew. The greatest suffering doesn't come from events. It comes from the story we tell about those events. Change the view, and the story changes. Change the story, and the feelings follow. Remember, the view from above is an escape. It's climbing a hilltop so you can see the road clearly, instead of stumbling blindly in the valley. The message is clear. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the one who chooses how to see. Right now, take one small step. Think of the thing worrying you most today. Then ask, will this matter in 5 years? Or, from the view of the universe, how small is this really? And say it with me, I choose the view from above. Write that line in the comments, so you see it, and so we all remind each other. If this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you exploring the Stoic principles, learning how to order life quietly and live powerfully. Remember, when you change your perspective, you change the entire world inside you. Principle 7. The sacred pause. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and regretted it for hours, days, sometimes even years? A sharp word to someone you love, a hasty reply at work, an email you wish you could pull back, and afterward you think, if only I had paused for just 1 second. That 1 second could have changed everything. Viktor Frankl, a doctor who survived the concentration camps, once wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power and our freedom." It sounds abstract, but it's deeply practical. The Stoics knew this truth 2,000 years ago. They called it the sacred pause. Think about it. When someone cuts you off in traffic, what happens? Your heart pounds, anger flashes, your automatic reaction, honk, curse, or carry the frustration the rest of the day. That's the fight or flight reflex, your body's primal wiring. But neuroscience shows us this: between the trigger and your reaction, there's always a gap. Sometimes it's just a second, but in that second, you hold the power to choose. Will you let instinct take the wheel, or will you let reason guide the way? Picture the pause, like the brakes on a car. No one drives without brakes. Brakes don't stop motion. They give you control. The sacred pause is the same. It doesn't stop you from living. It lets you steer your life with intention. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each day, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Understand this, and you will find strength. Strength doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from mastering your own response. And you can practice in small ways. When your phone buzzes, pause a second. Do you really want to open it right now? When someone asks you a tough question, take a breath before you answer. When your child tests your patience, pause and remember. You're teaching more with your actions than with your words. Each pause may feel tiny, but over time they build into strength. You stop being dragged around by emotion. You begin to own your response, and others start to trust you. They see your calm, your wisdom, your steadiness. The pause is like a break in the clouds. Catch it, and the light pours in. Miss it, and you drown in the storm. The message is simple. You can't control every trigger, but you can always choose your response. Right now, try one small step. The next time you feel yourself about to react, take a deep breath. In that sacred second, whisper to yourself, "I choose to respond with wisdom, not with impulse." Say it out loud, or write it in the comments below. Make it your commitment. And if this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you, exploring Stoic principles, learning how to order life quietly, yet powerfully. Remember this: the pause lasts only a second, but it can open the door to a lifetime of freedom. Principle 8. Cultivate the inner fortress. Do you ever feel like the world out there is just too loud? One compliment lifts you up for a moment. One criticism drags you down for the whole day. One piece of bad news, one negative comment online, and suddenly your peace is gone. And you wonder, is there a place so safe that no one can touch my peace of mind? There is. The Stoics called it the inner fortress. Epictetus, a philosopher who was once a slave, said no one can harm you if you keep your mind steady. He knew the truth. Freedom doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from an inner strength that cannot be shaken. Picture this inside you. There is a fortress, tall, solid walls, not to hide you from the world, but to let you stand firm when the storms come. Out there, people may praise you, or they may criticize you. They may judge, mock, or applaud. But if your fortress is strong enough, praise won't make you arrogant. Criticism won't make you crumble. You stay upright. You don't get dragged around by the emotions of others. So how do you build this fortress? It begins with stillness. Spend time alone. No phone, no noise. Just you, your breath, and your thoughts passing by. Reading and writing philosophy is another way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Meditation's not for the world, but to remind himself each day to keep his mind clear, not clouded by power or public opinion." You can write too. A few lines each night. What did I live true to today? Where can I improve? Each page becomes a brick in your wall. Meditation matters too. When you watch your thoughts float by like clouds, you learn this. You are not your thoughts. You are the gatekeeper of your fortress, deciding which thoughts come in and which pass by. And finally, remember your core values. The clearer you are about what you stand for, the stronger your fortress becomes. You're no longer swept away by praise or blame gain, or loss rise or fall. You know who you are. You know what is worth living for. The inner fortress doesn't isolate you from life. It gives you strength to walk into the world calm, steady, and inspiring to others. And the benefits? Unshakable resilience. The storm outside can rage, but the fire in your heart stays lit. You stop living to please the crowd. You start living true to your values, and that steadiness earns respect. The message is simple. You can't control the outer world, but you can build a fortress within. Tonight, try one small step. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Write down one value you refuse to compromise, and say it out loud with me. I am building my inner fortress. Leave that value in the comments. Let it be your first brick. And if this message speaks to you, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be here with you, learning to bring order to life quietly but powerfully. Remember this: when your fortress is strong, no one out there can break your peace within. Principle 9. The obstacle is the path. Have you ever noticed that the very things which seemed to block you were the things that shaped you the most? Losing a job, the end of a relationship, a challenge that nearly broke you, and yet after all of it, you discovered something. You were stronger, more resilient, wiser than before. So what if the obstacle isn't blocking the path? What if the obstacle is the path? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Stoics saw life as a giant training ground. Every difficulty is a workout designed just for you. Without resistance, muscles wither. Without challenge, the soul cannot grow. Think back to a time you were unemployed. At first, it felt like disaster, but maybe that fall opened a door to a career that fit you better, to a skill you had to learn, or to the discipline with money you'd never had before. Admiral James Stockdale, an American POW held for years in brutal conditions, survived through Stoic philosophy. He said, "You must never confuse faith that you will prevail with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality." Hope and discipline, side by side. That's what transformed suffering into strength. So the real question is no longer, why is this happening to me? The question is, what is this here to teach me? Stuck in traffic. It's training in patience. Your laptop crashes. It's a chance to practice adaptability. Someone criticizes you. That's a mirror teaching self-control and humility. Sounds cliché. Look closer. Most of your biggest leaps forward in life were forged in moments of crisis. Pain is not just pain. It's the raw material that shapes a stronger version of you. Diamonds only form under immense pressure. Steel is only hardened by fire. Stoicism doesn't deny grief or injustice. It teaches us to look deeper, to see opportunity inside adversity. The message is clear. The obstacle does not ruin your path. The obstacle is your path. Right now, try one small step. Think of one challenge you're facing today. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "How is this training me?" and say it out loud with me. Every obstacle is my path. Write it in the comments below. Turn it into a commitment, not just a thought. And if this message resonates, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be right here with you, exploring the wisdom of Stoicism, learning how to turn adversity into strength quietly but relentlessly. Remember this: life's road is not paved only with smooth ground. It's the rough, uneven stretches that lead you to where you were meant to go. Principle 10. Amor fati, love your fate. Have you ever whispered to yourself, "Why me? Why did this have to happen?" A setback, a failure, a fall so heavy it felt like it broke everything. And suddenly you're stuck in that question with no way out. But the Stoics had another answer, just 3 words, but powerful enough to change an entire life: amor fati, love your fate. Nietzsche, deeply influenced by Stoicism, once wrote, "Amor fati, not just to accept your fate, but to love it." What does that mean? It means instead of whispering, "Why me?" you say, "Good." This is part of the journey I was meant to walk. The Stoics believed every event, no matter how painful, carries a necessary lesson. Lose your job. It's an invitation to realign, to rediscover discipline, to find work that truly fits. A breakup. It's a teacher of love, boundaries, and growth. An illness. A reminder of life's fragility and the value of every single moment. Amor fati doesn't ask you to fake a smile in suffering. No one expects you to be cheerful in pain. It simply invites you to shift perspective, from resistance to acceptance, from resentment to love. Picture your life as a novel. Not one chapter is wasted. Even the pages soaked with tears, even the scars in the margins. They give the story its depth. Remove them, and the book loses its soul. Metal is only forged in fire. A seed only breaks through in the darkness of soil. And a human being only grows fully through adversity. Amor fati reminds us every event is material. You can let it weigh you down, or you can use it as a foundation to live more deeply. And practicing it is simple. The next time life throws you a curveball, a mistake, a setback, a surprise, remind yourself, amor fati. This is a necessary part of my journey. At first, it may feel forced, but with time, you'll notice something shift. That phrase frees you from resentment. It opens a new space, a space where meaning begins to grow, right inside hardship. This love is not romantic. It is love for truth, love for life itself, including the parts you did not choose. And when you love your fate, you stop fighting reality. You stop asking, "Why me?" And instead, you begin to ask, "Who can I become because of this?" The message is clear. Amor fati doesn't make hardship easy. It makes hardship meaningful. Right now, try one small step. Think of one struggle you're facing. Then whisper, "Amor fati. This is part of my journey." Say it out loud, or write it in the comments below as a commitment that you choose to love your fate. And if this message speaks to you, hit subscribe. Every week, I'll be here with you, exploring the timeless principles of Stoicism, learning how to quietly but powerfully shape a life from within. Remember this: only when you love your fate do you finally become free. Principle 11. Cultivate voluntary discomfort. Have you ever wondered why we fear loss so much? Losing a job, losing our comforts, losing the little routines we cling to. Just the thought of it makes us uneasy. But what if there was a way to train ourselves so we no longer lived under the shadow of that fear? The Stoics called it voluntary discomfort, the practice of choosing discomfort on purpose. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, did this often. He wore rough clothing, he ate plain meals, he slept on the hard ground, not because he was poor, but to remind himself, is this the worst I fear? If I can endure this, what do I have left to fear? You see, we've been taught to tie happiness to comfort. A soft bed, a lavish meal, the newest phone. But true happiness doesn't live there. It comes when you know deep down that you are still okay, even without those things. Voluntary discomfort is not self-punishment. It's mental training, like steel forged in fire, like a soldier made strong by drills before battle. And you can begin small. Choose to walk instead of drive. Eat a simple meal, just rice and vegetables instead of a feast. Turn off your phone for a day. Live without social media. Or skip Netflix one evening and sit quietly with a book. At first, you'll feel restless, uncomfortable. But then, you realize you're still here. You're still smiling. You're still at peace. Each practice lays another brick in your inner foundation. You fear loss less. You rely on comfort less. And paradoxically, you become more free. Picture yourself as a great tree. A tree raised inside a greenhouse, shielded from wind and rain, grows fragile. But a tree that's weathered storms, felt the scorching sun, and driven its roots deep into the ground. That tree will stand strong when the hurricane comes. So will you. Voluntary discomfort doesn't make you weaker. It's training for the mind. It prepares you for the real storms of life. The message is clear. Happiness doesn't come from adding more. It comes from knowing you can live well with less. So today, try one small step. Pick a discomfort on purpose. Walk instead of drive. Sleep without your usual luxury. Or turn off your phone for a few hours. And simply live slower. Then whisper to yourself, I am okay. I am stronger than the comforts I own. Say it out loud, or write it in the comments as a promise to yourself. And if this message speaks to you, hit subscribe. Each week, I'll be right here with you, learning how to quietly but powerfully organize life from within. Remember this: a little voluntary discomfort today becomes resilience tomorrow. Principle 12. Negative visualization. The art of grateful imagination. Have you ever noticed we only see the true value of something? The moment it's gone, a room feels precious only when it falls silent and empty. The laughter of your child echoes loudest when one day it's no longer there. And that ordinary morning cup of coffee becomes a treasure if tomorrow you could never taste it again. If you've ever felt this truth, the Stoics have a practice for you. It's called negative visualization. At first it sounds dark, but in reality, it's a discipline of gratitude, a training ground for resilience. Seneca advised practice imagining loss often, not to torture yourself, but to remember happiness isn't found in having more. It's found in recognizing the value of what you already have. So let's try it. If tomorrow your health were gone, if walking became a struggle, wouldn't every step you take today feel sacred? If your job disappeared, would you ever again take for granted those mornings you still had one? If someone you love were no longer sitting across the dinner table, how much deeper would tonight's embrace feel? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight. Loss is not an ending, it's simply change, and change is the very heartbeat of nature. Negative visualization is not about living in fear, it's mental rehearsal. Because everything health, work, possessions, people will eventually change. And when you rehearse loss in your mind, you gain two gifts. First, gratitude. That cup of coffee tastes richer because you know one day it may be gone. Your child's laughter rings brighter because you know nothing lasts forever. Second, resilience. When real loss comes, you're not shattered. You've trained for it. You've already learned in your imagination that while pain is real, so is your ability to rise again. Modern science agrees. The brain is less shocked by hardship if it has pre-lived the scenario in thought. Negative visualization makes us anti-fragile, not just able to withstand adversity, but to grow stronger through it. And the practice is simple. Each night before bed, pick one thing you cherish most. Imagine life without it. Then return to the present moment and see it again with new eyes. That familiar bed becomes comfort. A simple meal becomes a feast. A hug becomes priceless treasure. The message is clear. Negative visualization doesn't make life darker. It makes the present shine brighter. So right now, try one small step. Look around you. Pick one thing, a loved one, an object, even your own body. Then whisper, "If tomorrow it were gone, how deeply would I be grateful for it today?" And say it out loud with me, "I am grateful for what I have today." Write that in the comments so it becomes more than a thought. It becomes a living reminder. And if this message resonates with you, hit subscribe. Every week I'll be here with you exploring Stoic principles so we can learn to live deeper, fuller, and stronger. Remember this: everything you have today is a gift. Don't wait for loss to recognize its value. Principle 13, evening reflection. Have you ever laid down at night, but your mind just wouldn't stay quiet? The regrets of the day replay, the email you didn't send, tomorrow's meeting, that harsh word you wish you hadn't spoken. Your eyes close, but your thoughts keep spinning, and sleep feels far away. The Stoics had a simple practice, a quiet habit powerful enough to calm the storm. They called it evening reflection. Seneca once wrote, "When the lamp is out and the house is still, I examine my entire day. I leave nothing out, and I spare myself no mercy." But this wasn't self-punishment. It was a gift, a way to turn every single day into a lesson. Picture your life as a book. If you never write the pages, pass by blank. But if each night you pause for a few minutes, you capture wisdom drawn straight from your own experience. The Stoics ask themselves just 4 simple questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? And how can I improve tomorrow? What did I learn about myself, about others, about life? And what am I most grateful for today? It sounds small, but these questions are what gave us Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, a private journal that became timeless philosophy. Now imagine your own day. Busy, messy, full of unfinished things. If you just let it slip away, it disappears into nothing. But if tonight you write down, "I stayed calm when I was criticized, but I lost patience with my child. Tomorrow, I will listen more." Suddenly, the day isn't wasted. It becomes a brick laid in the walls of your inner fortress. The benefits are profound. When you name what you did well, you reinforce it. When you admit what needs work, you set a clear path for tomorrow. When you write down a lesson, you carve it deeper into memory. And when you practice gratitude, you fall asleep with a warm heart. Modern science agrees. Keeping a gratitude journal lowers stress. It improves sleep because your mind no longer needs to chase answers in the dark. You've already closed the day with self-awareness. Think of this habit like cleaning your kitchen before bed. If you leave it messy, tomorrow begins in chaos. But if you tidy it up, you wake to clarity and calm. Your mind works the same way. The message is clear. A day without reflection is a day not fully lived. So tonight, take one small step. Grab a notebook. Write down 4 things. 1 thing you did well. 1 thing you'll do better. 1 lesson you learned. And 1 thing you're grateful for. Then whisper with me, I grow wiser with every day. Write that. In the comments, make it your commitment, not just a thought. And if you find this practice helpful, hit subscribe. Every week, I'll be here with you exploring Stoicism, learning how to bring order to life quietly, steadily, powerfully. Remember this. Every evening is an opportunity. Don't let it slip away blank. Turn it into a page of wisdom, so that tomorrow you wake lighter and stronger. Have you ever opened an old attic? Dust everywhere, boxes stacked high? At first you feel overwhelmed. You don't even know where to start. Life can feel the same way. A cluttered mind, piled up habits. And you ask yourself, how can I possibly sort it all out? The Stoics left us a map, a path of 13 principles, quiet, humble, yet powerful enough to reorder life from the inside out. We've walked through them brick by brick, living true to your core values, remembering death so every moment matters, living in harmony with nature, both the world outside and your own inner nature, separating what you can control from what you cannot, focusing on your circle of influence instead of wasting energy on the rest, seeing life from above, putting problems into perspective, taking the sacred pause before you react, building an inner fortress no storm can shake, turning obstacles into the very path of growth. Amor fati, loving your fate, practicing voluntary discomfort to build resilience, using negative visualization to spark gratitude. And finally, evening reflection, closing each day with learning and renewal. At first, it sounds like philosophy, but in truth, these are tools. They are habits. Small, quiet steps you can begin right now in your kitchen, at your desk, before you fall asleep. The Stoics never believed in flashy transformation. They believed in silent strength. No need to announce it to the world. Just begin with one choice, one small action. Change is not a storm that sweeps in overnight. It's like water dripping on stone, day after day, breath after breath, reaction after reaction. Tiny entries in a journal, slowly carving shape. So the question for you today is not, do these principles work? History has already answered that. The real question is, are you ready to live them? You can keep living the old way. Let the noise outside pull your strings. Let impulse steer the wheel. Let fear of loss or praise and criticism toss you back and forth. Or you can choose differently. You can choose to become the architect of your own life. The message is simple. Stoicism is an invitation, not to memorize 13 rules, but to choose one principle today, and let it be the first brick in rebuilding the foundation of your life. Right now, whisper it with me, I choose to become the architect of my own life. Write that sentence down. or leave it in the comments, a quiet contract with yourself. And if this journey resonates with you, hit subscribe. Every week, I'll be here with you, building order, building strength, building peace from the inside out. Remember this: life doesn't build itself. You are the builder.